May 1956, Cottonwood, Arizona, a mining town 50 miles north of Phoenix. The school board votes. 5 hands rise. Eleanor Hayes loses her job. The chairman reads the morals clause out loud. Divorced women cannot teach Arizona children. 14 years of teaching, gone in 3 minutes. Her 2 daughters watch from the doorway. In the back row, a man in a faded blue cavalry jacket sets his hat on his knee. Nobody recognizes him yet. Here is the story. The schoolhouse sits at the end of Main Street, white paint peeling, a bell on the roof, an American flag on a wooden pole. The desert wind moves through the open windows, the smell of chalk and pine floors and old coffee. Outside, 2 of Eleanor's daughters wait on the porch, Mary, 10 years old, and Ruth, 7. They hold hands, they do not speak. Eleanor Hayes has taught in that schoolhouse since 1942. She started at 24, 3 weeks after her husband enlisted. She wrote him letters every Sunday for 2 years. When he came home from the Pacific, he was a different man. He drank, he disappeared for weeks. In 1953, he left for good, took the car, took most of the money, left a note on the kitchen table. Eleanor never spoke about him again. She kept teaching, she kept her daughters fed, she kept the small wooden house at the edge of town. She paid the mortgage with her $62 a month salary. She fixed her own roof. She walked to school every morning, 6 days a week, in the same blue cotton dress and the same brown leather shoes. The town knew, the town said nothing. The town let her teach until that May afternoon. The chairman of the school board is a man named Howard Pruitt. He owns the feed store. He has 3 grown sons. None of them ever sat in Eleanor's classroom. They went to Phoenix schools. He has watched her teach for 14 years. He has shaken her hand at 4 Christmas pageants. He has eaten her cornbread at 3 Veterans Day picnics. That May afternoon, Howard Pruitt reads Section 9 of the Arizona Teaching Code in a voice that sounds like a man closing a ledger. Whereas the conduct of a public school teacher must reflect the moral standards of the community. Whereas divorce represents a failure of the marriage covenant, the board moves to terminate the contract of Eleanor R. Hayes, effective immediately. He looks up. He does not look at her face. All in favor. 5 hands. Eleanor does not cry. Eleanor does not speak. Eleanor stands up, smooths her dress, picks up her purse, and walks past the board members one by one. She stops at the door. She looks back once at the empty desks where her children sat for 14 years. Then she takes Mary and Ruth by the hand and walks home down Main Street in the May sun. Behind her, in the back row of the schoolhouse, John Wayne sits very still in a faded blue cavalry jacket. He came to Cottonwood that morning to scout a sandstone bluff for the wrap shot of his next picture. He has been on the road for 6 months filming The Searchers. He is 49 years old. He has buried his own father. He has raised 5 children. He has seen a lot of things, but he has not seen this. He sits in the back row for a long time after the board files out. He does not move. He does not put his hat back on. He watches the chalk dust drift in the afternoon light. John Wayne walks out of the schoolhouse at 5:30. The sun is still high. The street is quiet. 2 trucks parked in front of the feed store. A man in coveralls leaning on a porch post. A dog asleep under the bench in front of the post office. Wayne walks. He does not hurry. He keeps his hat in his hand. At the corner of Main and Bridge, he sees Eleanor and her 2 daughters walking toward a small wooden house at the edge of town. Ruth is crying. Mary is not. Eleanor is holding both their hands and looking straight ahead. Wayne does not follow them. He turns and walks back the other way toward the diner. The diner is called Wilcox's. 6 tables, a counter, a coffee urn that has been on since 1946. An older waitress named Doris pours coffee for 2 men in mining clothes at the counter. Wayne sits at the table by the window. He orders coffee, black. He does not order food. Doris brings the coffee and sets it down without looking at him. Then she looks. Then she looks again. She does not say his name. She brings him a slice of apple pie he did not order. She puts it on the table. She walks back to the counter. Wayne nods once. He starts to eat. The two men at the counter are talking. Howard finally did it. Should have done it 3 years back. She's got those 2 girls though. She made her bed. Wayne keeps eating. My boy was in her class last year. Won't be the same teacher next fall. Won't be any teacher next fall. School board's hiring a man out of Flagstaff. $80 a month. 20 more than she got. Funny how that works. Wayne sets his fork down. He does not turn his head. He does not raise his voice. He just looks out the window at the schoolhouse at the end of the street. Doris comes back to refill his cup. She leans down a little. You're him, aren't you? Wayne looks at her. Don't tell anyone, he says. She nods. She walks away. Where are you watching from? Drop your state in the comments. I want to see how far this story reaches. There are men out there right now who remember a teacher just like Eleanor Hayes. The one who stayed after class to help with arithmetic, the one who walked you home in the rain in 1956, the one who got pushed out of her job for something that had nothing to do with how she taught. If a name just came to mind, say it, type it, let her be remembered. Wayne finishes his coffee. He leaves $3 on the table. He puts his hat back on. He walks across the street to the feed store. Howard Pruitt is behind the counter, counting receipts. The bell over the door rings. Pruitt looks up. He sees the cavalry jacket. He sees the face. He goes very still. Mr. Wayne. Howard Pruitt? Yes, sir. You the chairman of the school board? Yes, sir. Wayne walks to the counter. He sets his hat on a stack of feed sacks. How long you been on that board? 12 years. How long you known Eleanor Hayes? A pause. 16 years. How long she been teaching at that schoolhouse? 14. And it took you 12 years to read section 9 of the teaching code out loud. Pruitt does not answer. Wayne picks up his hat. Where does she live? Pruitt swallows. He gives an address. The small wooden house at the edge of town. Wayne nods once. He walks to the door. He stops with his hand on the handle. Howard. Yes, sir. You eat her cornbread at the Veterans Day picnic this year. A long pause. Yes, sir. Wayne opens the door. He does not look back. Then you knew. The bell rings as the door closes. The small wooden house sits half a mile past the schoolhouse. White board fence. A pump in the front yard. 2 cottonwood trees. The smell of supper on the wind. Beans and cornbread. Wayne stops at the gate. He takes off his hat. He walks up the porch steps and knocks once. Eleanor opens the door. Mary is behind her. Ruth is sitting on the kitchen floor with a cloth doll. Eleanor does not recognize him at first. The sun is behind him. She sees a tall man in an old cavalry jacket. Then she sees the face. She does not invite him in. She does not close the door. She just stands there. Mrs. Hayes. Yes, my name's John Wayne. I was at the meeting. I know. May I come in for a minute? Just 1 minute. She looks at him a long time. Then she steps back. The kitchen is small and clean. A wood stove, a pine table, 4 chairs, a jar of wildflowers on the windowsill, Mary helping with supper, Ruth carrying the doll over to inspect the visitor. Wayne sets his hat on the table. He does not sit. Mary. Ruth. I wonder if you take the doll out to the yard for a minute. The girls look at their mother. Eleanor nods once. Mary takes Ruth's hand and they walk out the back door. Eleanor stays standing by the stove. Mr. Wayne, you don't owe me anything. I know. I don't need pity. I know that too. He reaches into the inside pocket of the cavalry jacket. He takes out a brown envelope. He sets it on the table. What is that? $2,000. Eleanor does not move. She looks at the envelope. She looks at him. I can't take that. It's not for you. Then who is it for? Mary. Ruth. The mortgage on this house. Whatever comes first. Mr. Wayne, Mrs. Hayes. She stops. He does not move. 1 second. 2, 3. Then he reaches into the other pocket. He takes out a small leather notebook. He turns it to a page. He shows her a name. Ben Carmichael, State Superintendent of Public Instruction. I knew him during the war bond drives in '43. He has a phone in his house in Phoenix. I'm going to walk to the diner now and place a call. You don't know what you're doing. Yes, ma'am, I do. Have you ever had someone walk into your kitchen at the worst hour of your life and set down something you could not refuse? Have you ever had a stranger lift a thing off your shoulders that you didn't know how to put down? That moment changes everything, doesn't it? It changes the room. It changes the air. It changes what tomorrow looks like. Eleanor does not cry yet. She picks up the envelope. She holds it in both hands like it is hot. She sets it back down. Why? Wayne picks up his hat. Because I sat in the back row today and I heard the vote, and I could have walked back to my truck and driven on to the next location, but I didn't. He turns toward the door. Mrs. Hayes, yes, there's a teaching opening in Prescott next month. 8th grade, $85 a month. House comes with it, 3 bedrooms, walking distance to the school. Ben Carmichael will make the call by Friday. How do you know? Because I'm asking him to. He stops at the door. He puts his hat on. Mary and Ruth go to the Prescott school. They walk together. It's safer. Eleanor sits down at the table. She looks at the envelope. Mr. Wayne, he waits. Why are you doing this? He thinks about it for a moment. Because somebody should have. 12 years ago. He closes the door behind him. Wayne walks back to the diner. He uses Doris's phone. The call to Phoenix lasts 4 minutes. Ben Carmichael answers on the 3rd ring. He listens without interrupting. Then he says one word, done. By Friday morning, Eleanor Hayes has a letter from the Arizona Department of Education on her kitchen table. By Sunday afternoon, she has packed 2 trunks and a box of her mother's china. By Monday at noon, she is in Prescott. Cottonwood never sees her again. 40 years later, October 1996, the Arizona Teachers Hall of Fame in downtown Phoenix, 2nd floor exhibit, a small glass case, 3 objects inside, a teaching certificate issued by the state of Arizona in 1942, signed in faded blue ink, Eleanor R. Hayes, a black and white photograph dated May 1956, 31 children in front of a 1-room schoolhouse, a thin woman in a blue cotton dress on the porch behind them, and a brown envelope, still sealed, still bearing the original crease across the middle. The plaque tells the story. Eleanor Hayes taught in Prescott, Arizona from June 1956 until her retirement in May 1978. 22 years, 8th grade arithmetic and Arizona history. She paid off the Prescott house in 1971 with her own salary. She put her older daughter through Arizona State University, her younger daughter through nursing school in Tucson. Mary Hayes became principal of Flagstaff Junior High in 1989. Ruth Hayes served as a captain in the Air Force Nurse Corps in Vietnam from 1968 to 1971. Bronze Star, 3 commendations. She came home and married a pediatrician. They had 4 children. Eleanor died in March 1990. She was 87 years old. She was buried beside her mother in Cottonwood, the same town that had voted her out 34 years earlier. When her daughters cleared her bedroom, they found a Bible on the nightstand. Inside the Bible, between the page of 1 Corinthians and the page of 2 Corinthians, was the brown envelope, $2,000, untouched. The seal had never been broken. There was a note in Eleanor's handwriting on the back of the envelope, not mine to spend, mine to remember. 22 years of teaching, 2 daughters raised, 1 mortgage paid, 1 Bronze Star in Vietnam, 1 principal in Flagstaff, 8 grandchildren, all of it on a teacher's salary that started at $85 a month. The envelope stayed sealed for 34 years. She did not need the money. She needed to know somebody had offered it on the worst afternoon of her life. Ben Carmichael wrote about that May afternoon in his 1972 memoir, In the Service of Arizona Children. One sentence on page 240. In May of 1956, an actor placed a long-distance call from a diner in Cottonwood and asked me to do a thing the school board had refused to do. I did it. John Wayne never spoke about it. Not to a reporter, not to a biographer, not in any of the 4 interviews where they asked him about the rap of the searchers. He died in 1979. He took the story with him. The envelope and the certificate and the photograph were donated to the Hall of Fame in 1991 by Mary Hayes. The brass plaque under the glass case was written by the curator and approved by both daughters. It ends with 5 sentences. He sat in the back row. He saw the vote. He could have walked away. He did not. He sent a teacher home with her dignity. If this story reached you, do me a favor. Pass it on. Share it with a teacher in your life. Share it with a woman who stayed after class to help you with arithmetic in 1956, if she is still here. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. There are more Duke stories coming, and unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore.